First band was on too long. I got bored. They're fair, you know, but they're not starting stuff yet. A little more practice, a little more rehearsal. They need to get a different lead singer. Okay. Besides that, they sang all my tunes. After I did about 5 LPs, and they were reasonably, they were a reasonable failure. The people, the head of the people at the record company for whom I was working at the time said, "Well, do another one." Logic in there somewhere, it escapes me, but they felt like it was pretty good. An idea, so I did another one called "And the Hits Just Keep On Coming." Some of the tunes we did earlier with the band, and then I'll do some of them now with just my guitar, and I'd like to take the opportunity to sing some of my new work to you, and we'll get into that. A guy came up to me in Brighton, I guess it was Brighton, and he said, "I hear you're into a religious trip." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Well, I hear you're into some sort of new religion or something." And I said, "Well, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about." He says, "Well, I hear you really got some, well, you know what I'm talking about, man. Some sort of religious trip." I said, "Well, no, I'm not into any kind of religious trip." And he said, "Oh, well, I'll just check it." So he split, and I began to think about that, and it worried me most of the night because I didn't have a clue what he was talking about in terms of where he would drum that up specifically. And then I realized that what it was that he had managed to get a hold of some buzzwords, such as infinite. I wrote a song with the word infinite in it one time. So it logically follows you're into a religious trip. It's a good thing I didn't use the word omnipotence, but that's coming. Infinitude would have been a nice one, but... Well, this is a song with the word infinite in it, just in case any of you guys are just fed up with all this religious stuff, you can go get some popcorn. It's called Harmony Constant. It's off the great RCA Victor LP, And the Hits Just Keep On Coming, by Michael Nesmith. We'll be out here in a moment. I'm the second support act. While lightly perusing my state of affairs, with nothing apparently wrong, a silent and quiet restoration occurs of emotions forgotten and gone. Then slowly my eyes start to effortless rise, exposing the past to review, and the heart that's rightfully mine and is yours in unlimited life. The concept of loving as ultimate might and the power of peace and of truth and the harmony constant in all of these things is the thought of the future with you. We have a great tradition in America, a great American heritage, which is, well, it escapes me right now. I can't. It was something I had to be grateful for. I just can't think of it. No, that's not true. It was country and western music. I never had liked country western music very much. A guy said to me the other day, what first made you interested in country western music? I'm not particularly. Never have been. I mean, I find myself wandering around in those circles, but then, you know, if anybody with a Texas accent sings Aida, it doesn't make any difference. It sounds like country western. It's the nature of having been born and raised in Texas with people who talk like that. You have a tendency to absorb it. However, I have always had a great love for the art form because it has moved very nice and tender places, and it rests gently on my thought. The father of country music, befittingly, was a dreadful, dreadful man named Jimmy Rogers. Turns out that most of the songs that he wrote, and we think that he is responsible, not Uh-Oh Jimmy Rogers, not that one, you know, Uh-Oh Jimmy Rogers. He had several hits here a while back. Uh-Oh. He did Satisfaction and I Can't Get No Satisfaction. That was one of his big hits. He did White Christmas. You remember White Christmas? And what were some of the other things he did? No, that's a different one. So this fellow Jimmy Rogers would go around the countryside and he'd go into prisons and he'd steal tunes from these prisoners, and he'd come out and he'd make Blue Yodel number 9 and Blue Yodel number 8. I did a little research into his background and found out that everybody who knew the man personally wished they didn't. It's very interesting to find out about a great American hero, but anyway, there you are. had no idea what kind of a man he was personally, but one of the tunes that he wasn't able to rip off, it didn't work out, at least somebody else got publishing credit for it, is a tune called One Rose, which wandered into one of the LPs I was doing years ago. It was written by Lonnie McIntyre, of all people, and his Royal Hawaiians. I guess he was just a great big Polynesian cat. Said, "You ain't stealing my song, pal. You can sing it." So he did a nice job of it. I'd like to sing it because I find it hopelessly romantic in that great old tradition of country western romance, poignancy, nonsense, and it's a waltz. I used to have an intro to this song about being involved with a woman who was very silly, but who had, no, not who was very silly. The line went, she had the IQ of a carrot. And everybody laughed like that, and then I would go on to explain how she was really a jerk, but that ultimately when we broke up, that she was very gracious in the way that she broke up with me and went on her separate ways. The only problem with that introduction is it's entirely false. I don't think I've ever known anybody with an IQ of a carrot. And most every breakup I ever had has been horrible. So I suppose this is a song that comes where most of them come from, which is has an element of idealism in it. However, I would like to take the opportunity to apologize for having lied to you so long about this. In the way the lady said that she was leaving in the morning for the coast, and that goodbye should have brought me pain, but I watched her quickly check the reins of emotions which unloosed would cripple most. Then the thing that struck me strangely was the feeling that I had when she was gone. The view that left before her left me empty, but she left me with a fullness to lean on. Bitterness that usually set in was effectively undone by the girl's uncommon grace, and the thrust of the experience was the enriching and the lively sense she gave to my life and to its pain. I don't know where she's gone. Her wanderlust surely was strong, but love would be made much more sure if all the Putting up the marble canyons of the been informed earlier by the fire marshal that if you rush the stage or if you behave in an unfashionable and ugly manner, that we'll have to stop the concert. So please try to keep your seats and contain the frenzied energy that's pent up. I'd like to do. I gotta get off the stage at 10:30. I gotta get off probably before that, so we can get out of here. But anyway, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to take this opportunity to tune my guitar. Do the prison for you. Now, I can't really do the prison for you because the prison is a book with a soundtrack, but what I'll do is I'll explain in some sort of cosmic apocalypse what's happening with it. It's difficult to do on stage because it is a book with a soundtrack. What? A book with a soundtrack? Well, fine, tell me more about that. When I used to sit and read, I was always interested in the phenomena which occurred, which is that you sit motionless in a chair, and in front of you are these little squiggly lines of ink on white paper, and you don't do anything except move your eyes back and forth, and this entire movie plays out, you know, and I always thought, isn't that an interesting experience? The only thing that was, one of the things that was notable about the experience was the fact that it was silent, except for the occasional boom, you know, that they would write in the paper, or ack, or ack, or rat-a-tat-a-tat-as, those, buzz, those kind of things. The movie went on without any of the accoutrements of dialogue, except for the narrator, which was always me, reading, you know, doing that thing. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if there was a musical score to that? So I used to sit in my, as I would read, and I would score certain books in my head. And I'd bring the violins up when the boy and the girl would come together, and I would rattle things when something was about to happen, you know, and that kind of stuff. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if there was a way to make all that work together and actually write a record that you put on while you read this book? Well, that's what the prison is, more or less. That's the name of the work, the prison. And the notion is that you read the book while you listen to the record. The only problem is that it is an event that occurs which is like it's beyond the ordinary everyday event, in that one thing seems to be occurring inside consciousness and the other thing seems to be taking place outside of consciousness. So that you're into a place where the music, which is stimulating the auditory sense, is coming from a whole different space, we think, than the thing that's stimulating the visual and making this movie play out. So, about the best I could come up with on stage here. It all works. It's just a little, it just comes at it kind of at a right angle. It's about a 60-degree angle off of that one. You got to run down one of the linear logic trips and make a metaphorical shift out 60 degrees about somewhere down the line. So, the best I can do is tell you the story and sing some of the songs to you, which is what I... Like the unsuspecting captive of a million dreams, chains of desire bind so fastly to the earth. Seeing the attachment form from knowing all those things, being alone and at dawn with the joys of rebirth. Doesn't freedom look good? Would you go if you could? Fear keeps you locked up for good without keys. Do not you suppose that you could be among those standing in the shadows of release? For life is an unsuspecting captive of a million dreams, chains of desire bind so fastly to the earth. Seeing the attachment formed from knowing all those things, being alone and at dawn, being alone and at dawn, being alone and at dawn with the joys of rebirth. That's like the unsuspecting captive. It's the first song. And during that time, Jason, the protagonist, is introduced to you inside a prison which is dark and cold and yuck. And he is in there with a very strange assortment of inmates, in that the men and women inmates are together, so that they're able to share some sort of love, but it's mostly physical love, and so it's not very deep. And prison life is prison life, and it's generally keeping most of these inmates who would seek happiness locked into some shallow sense of mirth instead of real joy. One day Jason finds a hole in the west wall big enough for him to walk through, and he asks his lady friend Marie, "What is all this?" And she says, "Oh, don't go through there. If you go through there, you'll never come back." And he says, "Well, I thought that was the point." And she says, "No, you don't understand. If you go through there, you won't come back because it's a trap designed to eliminate troublemakers." And Jason says, "Well, do you know what's out there?" And she says, "No, some people know what's out there, but mostly it's just Banana City. Everybody who's gone through and has come back is a squirrel by now, and you can't even talk to him." Jason goes to talk to one of them, asking about going through, and the guy says, "Don't do it, man. Whatever you do, it's crazola weirdness." So Jason, thinking about this odd reaction, says to himself in one of his more introspective moments, there's another religious word, says, "Well, it seems to me like nobody in the prison is going to be able to describe accurately to me the nature of freedom. So what I'm going to do is go through the hole in the wall, and I'll see you later, Marie, and thanks for the warning." Well, he goes through the hole in the wall, and he's immediately surrounded by darkness and mist, and because it is so completely overwhelming to him, he loses his way, cannot find his way anywhere, even back to the prison, which looms now as a very secure haven to him, because it appears that the only thing that is on the outside of the prison walls is a very terrible and difficult state in which to exist. Now, during this time, there's a tune playing in the background called "Dance Between the Raindrops." And this takes place as Jason discovers a light dawning. It's the morning coming on, and he finds a place where he can go and lay down because he has spent the night more or less standing in one spot, frozen with fear. The song ends just about the time it is full morning. Dance between the raindrops were the last words that he said as I tumbled headlong into the storm. So rising to the challenge, I wrestled with the door, using what I thought was my good arm. But there is no way in to where you already are. There is no way out for everywhere. No satisfaction can come till that which is fulfilled, and all the lights fall away with the care. Leave the door closed loosely so the messenger will know that it's all right to just walk in. This fear that you've been feeling has no substance of its own. And though the battle rages fiercely, you will win. Oh, there is no way in to where you already are. There is no way out. No satisfaction can come that which is fulfilled, and all the lights fall away with the The sun finally wakes Jason up, and it's midday and it's kind of bright, and he gets up and he looks out at the day and he realizes that he's in paradise. Now, I don't know what paradise is. I mean, was a very hard place to come to. Paradise, I mean, it goes all the way from hanging out on the seashore to going to Las Vegas. I mean, who knows what paradise is? It is mawkish and garish to some people, and it's sublime states of consciousness to others, and it goes on. But the place that Jason is in is paradise. It's a given. And he meets a guy there named Tom, who begins to explain to Jason that what he has done by coming through the prison walls is moved beyond the barriers of time and space. To which Jason replies, "Did I die?" I mean, it's logical, right? Beyond time and space, death instantly. No, Tom says, you didn't die. It's just that you've begun to develop a larger sense of understanding things, beyond finite bits of conceptual reasoning. Yeah, well, that's Jason's reaction. Far out. Really? So Tom says, yeah, you see, because you're reasoning right now in little conceptual models made up of the tiniest little finite particles, and it doesn't make any difference how far you reason with these little finite particles or little finite particles. And Jason says, well, so what does that have to do with anything? And Tom says, well, because you have been logically drawing the conclusion that time stretches to eternity. But how can it? It's finite. Doesn't eternity encloses time? You've been believing that all this stuff that you live in the middle of stretches on infinitely beyond the stars. But how can it? It's all finite. It's very clear. It goes from there to there. It starts and stops. And what you have begun to do is nibble a little bit at the edge of the infinite and the eternal. Jason says, I'm hungry. Tom says, yeah, naturally. Come, I'll get you something to eat. So they go back, and Tom begins to explain some more things. Jason meets Tom's old lady there named Janie, and he says, well, I'd like to go back and see the prison. And so Tom says, yeah, sure, come on back. I think you'll be surprised. And they go back to the prison, and outside the prison, it's very extraordinary because there are all the beds lined up in the middle of the rows, and there's the kitchen table off to one side, and there are the solitary confinement cells with the men standing 6 feet apart from each other, but they're separated by absolutely nothing, because there are no walls. And Tom says, you see, men, outside the prison, there's no prison. It's only inside that it looks like a prison. And Jason says, that's the greatest piece of information I ever had in my life. I'm going to go get Marie, quick. Bring her out here. So Tom says, okay, go ahead if you want to. He runs in, he says, hey, Marie, you're free. Come on with me. And she says, okay, great, I'm free. I don't have a clue what you're talking about, but I love you. I'll follow you anywhere. That's my role as a woman. You're the man, I'm the woman. Whatever you do, I'll do, even if it's dumb. So Jason says, well, I don't know that I like that, but come out with me, because the minute you're outside, you will instantly see that it's all this beautiful, wonderful thing that's happening. And I found paradise out there. Marie says, yeah, well, okay, fine. 8 paces to the left and behind, that's me, and I'll just do that thing. So she follows Jason outside, and Jason says, well, you see? And Marie says, nuh-uh. Jason says, what? And she says, I don't see what you're talking about. He says, no prison. I mean, look, no prison. See? Outside, there is no prison. Inside, it looks like a prison. Exquisite sense, right? Marie says, I still see a prison. And Jason is not figuring on this, and at that point, Marie and Jason part ways. I'm looking for my capo. Isn't that interesting? We got 7 different levels of thing going on here. I mean, one of it's I'm really doing a show. The other is I'm telling this weird story, and the other one's I'm looking for my capo. I am? Well, I'm not. Yes, I am. Thanks, man. As she goes back into the prison and sits down behind one of the non-existent walls and cries and cries and cries, and Jason remarks to his own self, isn't it a tragedy? But he feels no remorse. For some strange reason. sometimes hears between friends. She began to emerge without speaking a word into something quite different from him. For she usually would start where he usually would stop, and then blissfully wave right on through. Still the ideas unfolded in their perfect array, only hinting at what lay beyond them. Hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. I recall how a carnival meeting in Raindrops had brought me together with them. No real direction, but just a simple reflection of movement as clear as the wind. We both stood there gazing and not quite believing, or willing to change points of view. Still the ideas unfolded in their perfect array, only hinting at what lay beyond them. Hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. So I'm watching another exceptional flower beginning to blossom and grow. As yet still unspoken, but with more than a token reminder of times yet to go. And the frequent suggestion is that time is the question, and not so much which one you choose. But still ideas will unfold in their perfect array, only hinting at what lay beyond them. Hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. Hidden behind all the logic one finds without truth. And on the record, that refrain repeats about 617,000 times. It goes over and over, so you get a chance to catch up on some of the reading. Well, Jason goes back to the cabin and he sees Tom waiting there, and he says, "You know, I'm glad you worked through the thing with Marie, man, because I knew she wouldn't come, and it's good that you saw past that." He says, "Because you're beginning now to catch on to a different state of love. You're beginning to get on past subject-object love, where you don't have to have love that you do to somebody, but love is a state of consciousness, a place where you are. That's the meaning of the phrase being in love. It's like being in a sea, being in a pool of love. And you don't have to have all these, you thought Marie turned you on to that place, but you don't now, right?" Jason says, "Well, I don't know that I understand totally what you're talking about, but it sounds, pretty cosmic. I don't know. Yeah, whatever." And Jason says, Tom says, "Well, then good, because I'm splitting, and you're now the new guide." Jason says, "Hold everything. I'm not ready to be anybody's guide. I mean, I just got here." Tom says, No. You're understanding everything that needs to be understood, man. You're thinking, aren't you?" Jason says, "Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything?" Tom says, "Every answer you need is always apparent, is always there, always arising in your own consciousness. Just turn and look at that." Jason says, "Well, when will I understand what you're saying to me?" And Tom says, "Well, it's a funny thing, we were talking about the infinite and infinity. One of the interesting things about infinity is that it's beyond time. You believe now that growth occurs through time. However, as you grow to a little understanding of the infinite, one of the first things you will see is that you have been there all along. It's just like the prison. You were free all the time. You just didn't know it." And Tom at that point splits, and Jason turns and goes inside. Well, this this song ends up the entire LP. It's called Lampost. And it's playing in the background as Tom walks down the hill and disappears, leaving Jason in his new place. Does the lamppost slowly turning in the window that's concerning revaluation for the sake of man? Carry news of broken weather, which reveals this shallow gesture of ovations carved from mountains made of sand. Lord, I'm falling, distant calling, connection from the past don't seem to come. Tragic dancer tries to answer, not cannot, for he plays a broken drum. Distance and space reacting in kind. Oh, for the price of the wisdom sublime and the strength to shoulder the burden. Is the tale too early spoken to the heads that not a token of appreciation based upon the sound? Or do the words mean something to the bold ones who are jousting in determination to unseat the crown? Rose thorn, forlorn, guard the beauty's treat. Carry your message sweet and deliver as complete. The unspoken line. Unspoken And as this song fades out in the background, and Tom fades out in the distance, and Jason fades out in the story, I will fade out in front of you. It's been a lovely evening. Good night, my friends.